How are you, my bro?
Blessed today. I woke up feeling very grateful.
The conversation of today is amazing.
Yes, everybody. I don't care. You could be listening to this podcast on audio platform or you could be watching it on YouTube. I strongly and highly recommend you sit through until the very end of the episode because this is, like I mentioned before in the previous episode, this is the $1 million lesson kind of episode. I need to say this, like for me, I don't just want to hear what she has to say. I need to. Like, it's so important. You know, like you can learn from people from all walks of life sometimes. But that's the thing. I consider her like the light in my life. And it's like, you know, let's say, for example, you go through a breakup and you feel like shit, right? You're probably in denial, you feel anger, you feel a lot of things, you feel depressed. And then you hear a music, right? A song, and that just like, that expresses exactly what you want to say for so long. Music has that power, and I think Sherry also has that power, if not even more. So everybody, let's go ahead and welcome Sherry Shai, the MBTI expert in the house.
Yay, I am back.
And today we are going to explore one special topic, MBTI,
Yes.
but more focus on relationship.
Yes.
Now, before we start the actual topic, I have one belief. I believe there's no dumb questions, but there are dumb people who ask questions. This one might sound a bit silly, but I genuinely want to know that we know there's 16 types in MBTI. There's different personalities. Now, when you want to refer them as like the whole, do you say MBTI or do you say MBTIs?
We say MBTI because that's actually an assessment. So you can say MBTI types.
MBTI types.
Right.
Oh.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Was that dumb?
No.
Okay. Wow. Thank you.
That's a good question.
That was a very good question.
Okay.
Yeah.
Totally. Today we are talking about especially your book.
Yes.
And let me tell you, because I have a lot of feelings.
Okay.
Especially
Me too. Yeah.
I am extrovert, but I was start listening the whole MBTI and description of the introvert. I was crying. I was like, I'm a horrible person sometimes because introverts are a person who they like don't have this easy way to show the expression, the emotions.
Right.
But they are more like I remember how you liked coffee. I remember how you like your cake. I remember exactly what you are going to order in one cafeteria.
Right.
And that's how they express the love. But sometimes in my mind, my love is like more like a kiss, hug. Especially I'm a Latino, so sometimes it's like a passion way.
Well, I think it's great that you had the observation and reflection because a lot of people assume love is action. But sometimes it's not. Right? And I think the really trendy saying right now is 情绪价值.
Yes.
Are you catching my emotions? Like people talk about that a lot. So I think for extroverted preference people is to be aware. Sometimes it's not what you do. Maybe it's what you don't do. Or maybe it's how you act and your mindset that make other people feel comfortable and welcoming. And I think you're right. A lot of people equate love with action. Like you didn't act on it. You didn't buy me anything. You didn't hug me. But 50% of the people, right, that are I preference, that's their default mode, right? It's not really action oriented per se. So it's good that you had that reflection.
I'm really curious. I know that you wrote as FP people, TJ people. Why do you combine them and talk about them in different categories?
Yeah, I mean, you really can. The 4 letters themselves, they have what you call chemistry. So it's not just that, you have one letter that's different, so everything else is the same. Just a difference of a letter changes the primary function, the secondary function, meaning what drives you, right? And you can dissect it in so many different angles. You could dissect it from using the first letter and the last letter, like IJIPs, or you can really look at the middle two letters, like how you receive information and how you make decisions. But I do think, echoing on what Concord you had said, a lot of times when we look at love is how you make the decision and how you execute it. So I feel like for this book specifically, I use the last two letters because I feel like they may have more in common when we talk about love.
This is part of the episode today. Today we're going to talk about if it's a match, if you need to use like maybe a APP Tinder or something like that. The MBTI. Before I start this episode, please, Sherry, make this amazing quote of your book.
I wrote in the very beginning, I don't want people to read it and go, see? Sherry said you need to develop this part. Like, that's exactly you. Like, that's why you suck. And that's why you need to improve. It's not for that purpose. I think it's for everyone to think, oh, shoot, like you. Like, oh, maybe I assume action equals love. Maybe it's not that. I can really sit with the idea and think about it.
Well, with that amazing introduction, we are going to start this amazing episode. Ape, ama, suaiko, menu, it's me, Concord.
And it's me, Tyler.
It's me, Sherry.
And we are Brosbond.
I love when we were talking about relationship, there's healthy relationship and there's toxic relationship. Now, specifically for toxic relationship, in your book, you mentioned that, well, it's all about being more informed, educated, and so that you can be more understanding. So honestly, like, there's no one to blame in certain situations, but what is that line where you find, okay, that's it. That's my boundary. And I need to respect myself. I need to put myself first. So then I could be able to build more healthy relationships.
Right. It's not an easy question. I will say if there's any type of abuse, right? If there's any type of physical abuse, already that's out, right? Physical, mental abuse. And defining abuse, like you are deemed worthless or you're deemed like having lower value than your partner. So I think that's in the obvious category. But what's less obvious is you feel like your partner is not seeing your value or is not giving you love. But is that really true, right? Because sometimes your partner is loving you in a way that you're not understanding it. Okay, so how do we know when to leave, basically, is your question. I think everyone has the right to pursue happiness, right? So there's no right or wrong. Like if you're extremely unhappy in this relationship, your emotions should be an indicator. So I especially tell this to T preference people because sometimes we override our emotional data with logic. Like, well, that doesn't make sense. Like, I loved her yesterday, but why don't I love her today? Or that doesn't make sense. Or we can't break up because I already proposed and whatnot. So sometimes we ignore that data. But your emotion is giving you a lot of data about this relationship. If you're constantly unhappy, right, that's a big indicator. One thing is within yourself. Am I happy? Do I feel worthy? Like, am I better in this relationship? Or not even better, am I myself? Or at least not worse in this relationship? And number two, like, is this worth fighting for, right? Can we work on this together? Or I don't see it. Like, I don't see, even if my partner wants to work on it, I don't care anymore.
Actually, that's one of the parts that I'm so surprised in Taiwan. I found it's part of the culture because I know a lot of cases that the people are in the relationship and stuck in the relationship because they don't want to be the bad person who say, here, I don't want to be the person who finished the relationship. So a lot of person, they stuck in that relationship for a long time.
Number one, I think people who say that need to really sit down and think about it. Is it really true? My intentions really is out because I love that person. I don't want my partner to be hurt. I think a lot of people say that because they do have that insecurity. It's, well, even though I don't love him anymore, but at least he loves me.
Oh.
So I can say, a lot of times what we say is not what we think. Sometimes we know it, sometimes we don't. Because, like I said, we want to make ourselves look good.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Sometimes unconsciously, we will lie to ourselves. So when people say that, I'd ask them, is it really you? Are you really afraid for your partner? You're worried that if you leave, he or she can't live without you? Or are you afraid yourself, but you won't say it? So you're scapegoating your partner for it. So that's number one. And number two is, I think, what's that saying? Like, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. Like, you think you're doing something nice, but it could be the cruelest thing you've ever done. So I will share my personal story. When I broke up with my boyfriend, who is now my husband. Oh, when he broke up with me. When he broke up with me. We've been together for 33 years since high school. Remember that. So don't do the math. You don't need to know how old I am. So no, but like really late. We were about to graduate, and it was our senior trip. So a lot happened. I was very logical. I didn't believe in love. I thought that was like, whatever. It's for weak people. And then I fell in love. And I thought it was going to be a summer flint before I go to college. Like, I fully thought, I don't even like this guy that much. I mean, it's just going to be a summer thing. But then I totally fell for it. And a year into the relationship, we had long distance, and my parents were getting a divorce. I got a call telling me my parents were getting a divorce. So I think I became like a crazy person. I like was really had the full intention, like, we're not gonna end up like my parents. So I was gonna work extra hard, right? So anyway, I think it's too much for someone to bear, to carry the burden of making somebody else happy when you're a freshman in college yourself.
Yeah.
So I had considered him my soulmate. Like, I think I knew like right away I wanted to marry him. I was freaking 18, like full loco, I'm telling you. And after that, like, he really just stopped communicating. Like, once we decided to break up, there was no, how are you doing? Is everything okay? Like, I thought after all that we went through, he would at least have the decency to check up on me, okay? But I will say, so I've hated him for a long time. 33 years later, looking back, I thought that was the kindest thing that he did. Because if he had continued to check up on me, I would have thought we still had a chance. But at that time, he really was at a breaking point. He didn't think we could go any further. So had he really checked in on me and be kind and strung me along, it would have taken me way longer to get over him. And so that cruelty, in hindsight, was an act of kindness. And because of that kindness, I was able to have a full-on transformation in my third year in college. If you are afraid to let someone get hurt, and that means you believe more in the past, but not in the future, right? You're holding on to the past. Give you and your partner, or soon-to-be ex-partner, a chance for a better future. he or she deserves someone who really
like her. Love her. Yeah.
Not someone who's like, oh, I'm just putting up with you because I don't want to be an asshole.
And don't stuck with one idea about like I want this person forever, because like it happened to you. Sometimes in that moment you broke, you period of time, you grow up, you find yourself, and then that person appear in your life again.
Right.
And what's the correct moment, the correct time?
I don't want to give a strict definition of if your partner did this to you, you must leave. Because I think humans are more complex than that. If you judge me like any given second in the past 33 years, like, have I been an asshole to my husband? I can tell you for sure I have, right? So you have to look at it in that context. Like, because I read someone's book, it's like, well, if somebody doesn't return your text for more than 24 hours, then that means that he or she doesn't care about you. And I sort of argued a little bit, like played the devil's advocate. Like sometimes when I'm super stressed out and I have a lot on my mind, and I feel like everything that's coming out of my mouth is very negative, I will go ahead and block myself. The intention is to protect others. I don't want to say anything that might be potentially damaging to the relationship because I am in a crappy mood and everything's a trigger for me.
Yeah.
And so I would remove myself. And let's say if when that happens, my partner really needs me and I'm not there. So in that particular moment, you will see I am the asshole and my poor partner, right? Needing support and couldn't get it from me. But in the last 33 years, this has happened. Yeah. Like sometimes it's me, sometimes it's him. Does that really make us horrible partners? Or, I mean, we're human beings too. There are times where we're not good, right? We're not in a good place. If I can't support myself, I may not be able to support you. So I don't like to give people a definitive answer. Like if your partner doesn't do that for 2 days, then it's time for you to go. But I will say, let your relationship be motivated. Like I want to work on us because I love you, not out of fear. Like, what if you're not around? Who's going to fix the TV? Like, what if you're not around and I can't find somebody better? Like Concord said, I think a lot of relationships, people stay together out of fear. Like, what if this happens and I don't have someone to live with me or do this with me? Okay, so as long as it's out of love, I think there is an opportunity to work on it together. But of course, that's when you understand your partner also has that intention.
Yeah.
So having that intention is important, but also understand with that intention, like I want to be healthy. But there are times where I'm like, just want to have junk food, right?
Yeah.
So it's the same thing. If you can cheat on your diet, right? Sometimes like I can control myself. I want to eat some chips. Then you got to understand there are times where your mood's going to go up and down.
Damn, that was beautiful. Okay.
I'm so curious about growing a one healthy relationship, because in Peru we have some word, some sentence that is the people are going to judge you for what you did wrong instead of how you fix that. So let's start diving in how you grow one good and healthy relationship with your partner.
I just learned this exercise. This is from my kid's school called...
We are going to have a therapy again. Okay, I'm ready.
I mean, I think it's an awesome name for it. We all know how to do it, but they called it glow and grow.
Glow
and grow, okay.
So you keep track of all the things that your partner has done for you or that you've done for yourself. So that's glow, right? That's the great thing. And grow is an area of growth that basically said, you suck right now, but you have room for improvement.
The room for improvement.
Now, I think it's important that you share both glow and grow all the time.
Okay.
Right? Take time to check in. Otherwise, the other person, your partner, is going to feel like you're picking on me all the time. Every time we freaking talk, it's about something I need to work on. Oh, I heard you, or I didn't do this, right? So you don't want to make your partner feel that way. And like I said, I just interviewed Dr. Tara, who's a neuroscientist, and she talked about our brain. We want to survive, so we will remember and be more sensitive to the bad things, because evolution has taught us, like, all the healthy things and things that won't kill you doesn't need to stand out that much. But any sense of danger, your brain's going to amplify it. But we've already come so far, and now there's no tigers like hiding like in the bushes right now. So we need to override this default mode and really take a step back and say, is it logical that he just was an asshole for one day, but he had been the sweetest and he's done so much for me? And I will say, remembering that and sitting down with myself and really go through it is what kept my marriage going for 20 years. Because there will be days in the future, and there were days where I'm just like, oh my God, like, I don't even want to see him anymore. Like, I cannot talk with him. So that definitely has happened, and I'm sure will happen in the future.
We were talking about romantic relationships, about the glows and the grows, and I find that really interesting that if it's in the family dynamic, that sometimes it's like, I personally have this internal conflict where I know my parents has done so much for me, has sacrificed so much, and they had to have some compromise and a lot. But there's just a certain part I don't feel like my opinion aligned with theirs, or my mindset, my value, how I view the world. Like, we can reach that agreement, or at least agree to disagree at some point. I consider myself, I'm working on this, but I consider myself maybe a little bit people pleaser. And I once heard someone told me that, Tyler, you know, people pleaser, they actually started once as parent pleaser.
Oh, yeah.
But like, if you have that, the desire to want to improve, to want to change, what would be your like suggestions for people?
For any type of people pleasers, I think it's important for you to know that I shared with you guys last time. Dr. Gottman, the marriage counselor, said in any relationship, the chances of you having problems that cannot be resolved is up to 60 or 69%.
Well, that's a lot.
That is a lot. Because you come from you're different generation, different background, maybe different gender. You're just so different. Yeah. So how can you agree on everything together? I think it's important to distinguish, like, I can love someone without agreeing with that person all the time. These aren't the same thing. Agreeing with someone also does not mean you love that person. If any of you out there, you have a job, I think you'll have to agree with your boss most of the times. And I don't think that's an indicator of love. So understanding the difference, you can disagree with someone, but still love that person with your whole heart. So these are two different things. But if you confuse them as one, or if you think of them as one, then it's hard for you to establish that boundary.
But how is in the case of the parents? I'm so curious because basically, I mean, I never can reject one thing of my mother. Like,
have you ever disobeyed them?
I can't.
I can't either.
But it's not because I pleasure. It's because it's like in Latin America, we grow up with the belief is when your mom talk, you count the bad. You just put your head down and listen. One thing is because she know more than you. She has more experiences than you. And one argument that I will never refuse my mom is because she is my mom. She is close to me forever, no matter what happened. So she every day is wishing me the best because even in the best or in the worst, she's going to be with me. So that's why if she tell me you need to do this, okay.
It's like in Taiwan, we have this thing. It's like the salt your mom consumes is more than the rice that you consumed. So you better listen to your mama.
I am a mother of 3, so I will not tell you how you should talk to your moms. But I think I will represent all the mothers. There are certain things that I did to my kids that I do regret. And there are things that I've said, I was glad that they didn't listen. Because I've also evolved. I've also learned more and gathered more data and have more life experiences to know that 10 years ago, what I consider right, I don't consider it now.
Wow.
So I will say, if I had told my kids to do something, and despite what they thought, they obeyed and did exactly what I asked of them, and they come back in 20 years with all the costs, the bill of therapy, and say I was traumatized and my life is not successful, or I'm unhappy because of what you said, I know for a fact that will make me sadder in 20 years than if they had talked back at me right now and argue their point to say, Mom, this is not for me. Okay, so I do think for parents, it's difficult because, like I told you about the buzz cut, sometimes they will say they want to try things and you say, I know you're gonna hate it. This is not the right girl or boy for you. You're gonna get so hurt. But I think it's important for us to know that's my life, right? That's his or her life. I can't be responsible for my kids' happiness. They have to learn to be responsible for it. So I've heard the most horrible story. It's somebody with Asian descent in the US, got a Harvard degree, gave it to the parents, and jumped off the tall building to say, this is for you. Because I did everything you wanted. So I don't want to do this anymore. I do think that sometimes as kids, we think, well, we'll treat our parents like our bosses, right? We just agree and make them happy. I don't know what every parent is like. Some parents are okay with that. They're happy, like, at least you're not talking back at me, right? I don't want my kids to be talking back at me. But I think for me, and I think for my husband, I'd much rather you fight with me and know that we have that trusting relationship than you're always the good girl, good boy in front of me, and you don't tell me anything because you don't trust me. So again, I am in no position to tell you how to live any of your lives, but I will just say this: parents change and grow as well. As we grow older, we learn things. And I don't think parents want you to be unhappy. So whatever the suggestions they're making for you, they're coming from their own projections. But ultimately, they're giving you this advice because they want you to be happy. If they knew you obeyed it and you're miserable 10 years down the line, I guarantee they'll regret giving you that advice. They're not withdrawing their advice because they don't know. They don't know what you're going through in your generation. They're giving you the advice based on their own previous experiences.
One thing I find it very interesting and kind of sad is that Asian parents, even when they acknowledge that, oh, okay, I probably made a mistake, or I talked to my kid in a way that I wish I could have taken back, they struggle to make an apology. And do you think it's like when you, especially from parents, when you realize that, do you think it's necessary for them to admit and to say sorry to their kids, or like to sort of have this closure with their kids? Or do you think like, wow, toughen up, like time will heal, or like they'll understand eventually when they're adult, when they, like when you're a mother, when you're a father, and then you understand like all the burden that I'm carrying right now. So like you should have behaved in a certain way. But I think it's kind of sad, especially in Asia, that a lot of like kids, to a certain extent, we have that childhood trauma that something was never healed, and it kind of just scar you a little bit. Of course, you love your parents. Of course, you want nothing but happiness, for your parents. But there's like that part, yeah.
Right. Every generation is different. Of course, ideally, I want everyone to open their hearts, talk everything out, and have closure. But we need to remember, we need to meet people where they are. You can't talk to a kindergartner or first grader about college math. It's beyond their scope of understanding. They didn't grow up with this, let's have a conversation. Let's be frank and open and apologize when we feel that we're wrong. This is not their upbringing. So even if we hope that, and I think in any relationship, with love relationships too,
as well,
you have to respect that is the time period, that is the background, this person, either your parents, your partner, that's where they're from, right? And there are certain limitations, and it's hard for them to override it. They might want to try, but they've never seen an adult apologize to a kid before. And it's just not, it just doesn't register. It's not something that's possible for them. They are who they are, right? You can't change your parents and say, well, they should apologize. Yeah, it would be nice if they did, but maybe it's just not in their vocabulary.
One of the things that I when I was in Peru, I understand is like, I have scars. But my parents, for the age and for the period of time, they have 1,000 or more scars than me. And sometimes they don't I mean, Latinos are super friendly. I have a really amazing relationship with my father and my and my mother. Even with my father, we make a lot of jokes. We are like so good friends. But I understand he has more scars, and he lives in another period of time. So sometimes he will not apologize because he needs to keep that strong man. Because for me, it's like, I'm going to suffer like, I hate you, Dad, today because you didn't say me apologize. But that day he will wake up and he go to work for you can study, for you can live, for you have a house, you can pay your food, you can pay your all things. He will never stop. He will never want to say, hey, son, I hate you, I'm not going to work this week for you. He will never do that.
I think with evolution, we always want to do better for our kids, and that the intention's always there. But maybe the actions doesn't reflect it. And we carry our wounds, like you said. So imagine someone saying sorry is almost like admitting you're
wrong.
Admitting you're wrong means you put yourself in a vulnerable position.
Yeah.
Right? So if you have to go to war every day, right? That means taking down your armor and addressing the wound. Like seeing how you've hurt. People have hurt you, you've hurt yourself. So you're exposing yourself to that outside external force. So imagine you've worn this armor all of your life. Okay? Saying sorry may be something small for us, our generation. But for their generation is literally taking off that armor. Now, it's uncomfortable because they're not just going to see that wound. They're going to see all of this wounds and scars that they've gathered all throughout their life. And they're only able to function now is because they have the armor on.
Right.
So asking them to take it off, sometimes even a psychiatrist has said to me once about someone I know, it's like, we're afraid to go deeper at this point because he's of a certain age and he's at least functional right now. If you go deeper, the trauma is so big, it might be hard for him to recover. Wow. So that's something that actually, that's a true story. So again, I think meeting people where they are, we have an ideal, no matter in parental relationship or our relationship with our love partners. With our personality type, we think there's something that they should do. Parents should be like this. Moms should be like that. Like wives should be like that. Girlfriends should be like that. Your shoulds are what's going to upset you and disappoint you, right? Because your partner is going to be a little bit different than exactly how you imagine like a perfect wife or girlfriend to be. So it's important that we check our shoulds. Like, is this normal or no? Like, I'm thinking too much.
I have a question. It's true. Do you think it's true, in your personal opinion, do you think it's true that, in Peru we say this, I don't know in Taiwan it's the same, but most of the time we want to choose one partner that is similar to our parents?
Interesting statement.
Personally, when I look my wife, I try to find the word family fit in her. So how the word family create in your brain is when you look your father and your mother. So when you try to find a one partner, you try to look in that word family, that warm feeling that you get. So I was thinking maybe Latinos are right in that way. You're looking for somebody who is close to your family, close to your mother.
I'm kind of like on the complete opposite side. Because my dad was not in the picture when I grew up, and my mom, she's very powerful. She has strong characteristic, and she's very like business orientated, and so she gives you tasks, and she command, and you live up to the expectation. That kind of more like not to the point like tough love or like tiger moms. But you need to be a good boy. My girlfriend on the other side, she listens a lot and she resonates and she feel like she is one of the most empathetic person. If I have to like shorten it in one sentence, I think I am more looking for something that from my family like I lack and I long for that. And so when I try to seek my partner, because romantic relationship is like, well, you get to find someone that you think you're most compatible with. I
do think your family affects you a lot in the partner that you choose, one way or the other, because we are comfortable even if we hated our parents' relationship. It's something that we know of. Like, I think the saying is, at least that's a type of love you're familiar with, which is why a lot of people coming out of abusive relationships, like their parents, one of them is abusive, end up with another abusive partner. It's because it's something in your core, like it feels comfortable, right? It's comforting. Like I kind of have that deja vu feeling, right? But I will say one thing, I like ask another video to edit out, but I guess we can say it. When I first broke up with my boyfriend or husband, and a few months later, I see him with somebody else. I was so upset that I ran home and like threw up, and I cut my hair. And at that time, my father like cut yourself? Like literally, I had hair everywhere. I made a mess. That's like, I'm telling you, like full loco, okay?
No, I understand the loco, okay?
Loco. No, I'm just telling people, like, you don't know what you're capable of until you're there. Because in hindsight, like, people look at me and think I'm like reasonably logical.
Yeah, but at the time you were like
not emotional. So I think one thing I said to my dad was, which was so hurtful and rude, was I thought he wasn't like you. Because my father is a very charismatic person. Like he's very social, he's charismatic, he's dominant as well. I, on the other hand, thought I found like the opposite of him. So that was just like, I just lashed out because I was hurt, right? I think I just wanted to hurt everyone around me at that time.
I'm glad I wasn't there.
Yeah.
I would be so hurt.
So I mean, kudos to my dad for not saying much, but like, I know he was very upset by it. Like he looked sad. What I'm saying is, I think because my parents were divorced at the time, so I think your family and your parents' interaction does affect a lot of how you picture a successful relationship is.
Yes.
So when you don't have a picture of success, like Tyler and me, we are making something up. We're looking for the opposite of something.
Yeah.
Right? But when you do have a picture of success, then you're like, oh, I consciously or unconsciously, I'm drawn to someone like that because I believe that that'll lead me to a successful relationship. But either way, I think we need to be very aware because you might be projecting a lot of your ideals onto your partner. Like, I thought my husband would be completely opposite of my dad because that's what I was looking for. But he wasn't completely opposite. That would make him very one-dimensional. Like, you have mixed feelings. There are times where you're aggressive and there are times you're passive and, you know, you're big on socializing and sometimes you're not. To say you're this and I need someone who's completely opposite, that's role locking someone.
Yeah.
That's not giving that person the freedom to be like multidimensional.
Yeah.
Right? And to say, well, I need this because this is a picture of success, and say, well, you're not acting like my mom or how I picture it, also is dangerous. So I think in any relationship, we need to take a step back and realize, like, how much of it is our childhood trauma, or like, how are we affected by our parents' relationship? And now we need to put a boundary on it. It's our own relationship now. It's our own lives now. We're not here to repeat the trauma or react because of it and go completely opposite, because that's also a reaction,
yes.
right? But really focusing on what we want and not what we don't want.
Everybody needed that.
Yeah. So that's coming to my
Yes.
question. Let's put it here because I want to talk about this, because my first impression before to read was like maybe I'm going to find like which type can match with me, which type can be like my perfect mind. But then I start to discover like a lot of love. So I want to ask you why you focus this book instead to have a Tinder match recommendation to self-awareness.
Oh, there's so many reasons. Number one, I think most people didn't get the official assessment. So I still see people saying, well, I was this type before and now I'm this type and I'm going to change again in 3 months. So a majority of people still don't understand what MBTI is. So if they say they are INFP right now, but tomorrow they say, well, but tomorrow I'm INTP. So then you don't know how to match it. So that's on the very top of the reason. And number two is, even if you're the same type, I keep giving you advice because it's almost like I am talking to my younger self. Both being ENTJs, I have changed a lot over the years. Like, I've seen how my extreme J preference has made people I love uncomfortable, or how that's held me back from being adventurous and taking last minute opportunities that might have benefited me. So I actively remind myself, I need to develop certain areas. Like, I need to be more empathetic. I need to be more agile and flexible. So I can become more whole. Like, I'm no longer the me 10 years ago when I want to, and I am good at going to a room and just command it. I thought that was a great thing, and I wanted to do that. So why I didn't do that in the book, it's because you're at different stages of your life.
Yes.
Right? So me 10 years ago, 20 years ago versus the me now, that's completely different. Like, how do I find a match that can last? Like, my partner needs to evolve with me as well. And thirdly, like, even if I do that, you're not going to listen. Look, you're going to fall in love with whoever you want to fall in love with. You're not going to read my book and say, oops, you're not in this chapter, so I can't date you. So that's never going to happen.
Yes.
Wow.
So I think that's why I wrote this book in that format. And I think you can fall in love with anyone. It just, with anyone, you will. And just mark my words, you will have communication issues because that's just the way we are.
Wow, Sherry, this book is all about MBTI, self-awareness, personal growth, and relationships. Thank you. I personally want to thank you for writing this book because I think people need it.
Oh, thank you.
And as a true fan, well, just one suggestion, maybe like a one tiny wish. Maybe next time you go write something about parents, about family.
Parents and MBTI.
Oh, yeah.
Sherry, how can people find this book?
Any bookstore or online, right? So I hope, even if you're not in a relationship, I think it's time for you to kind of do an inventory. Like, how do I love? How do I love to be loved? Do you even know yourself, right? Because I always thought I wasn't romantic until one Valentine's Day, I saw all of my coworkers getting flowers and I didn't, and I was pissed off. So I called my husband, boyfriend at the time, and I said, well, there are no flowers. Everyone's getting flowers. And he was kind of like, well, I thought that wasn't your thing, but okay, to make you happy. So he sent me flowers, but with that INTP, being very blunt, you know what he said on the card?
Here you go.
Here we go.
Pretty much, I hope you're happy now.
Were you happy?
Of course not. I was like, what an asshole. But in his defense, like, how is he going to know someone who says, flowers are so dumb. Like, I don't like romantic gestures. I like acts of service. And then all of a sudden say, why didn't you send me flowers, you asshole? Right? So if I didn't know myself, how can I expect my partner to read my mind?
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Actually, I want to adjust. This is the perfect time. This is the perfect cue, because one of the things that I really never ask myself and ask my wife is, what's mean love? Because like you say, how can I read your mind? How can I read your mind? How can I understand what is love for you? How can I understand that today you want flower, but tomorrow you don't want flower? How I can guess? I'm not genius. So after read the book, I told to my wife, please sit down each other face to face. What is your MBTI? We read her MBTI, I read my MBTI. And then I asked her, what's mean love for you? I was previously imagining that maybe love means maybe clothes, maybe flowers, maybe spend really fancy dinners. But then she told me like, I just want to spend time with you.
Quality time.
Quality time. So if you are in one relationship, maybe this is the best moment today, now, that you can ask to your partners, you can ask to your wife, you can ask to your fiancé, what's mean love? So you are going to have a clear panorama about what is going to be your relationship, your beautiful relationship.
Yes, absolutely.
And everybody, thank you if you stick with us until this very end. Yes, if you enjoyed this video, if you enjoy us having Sherry on the show, please go ahead, hit like, subscribe, and share this with everyone, because everyone needs to hear this. Yes.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you again, Sherry.
Thank you for having me on. Yay.
All the description, all the links where you can buy this amazing book is now in the description. Down below is the whole description. Sherry, please tell us your social media so everybody can go to find you.
Oh, good Lord. I think it's Sherry's_notes. So if you just say Sherry's notes, 雪力的心理学笔记, you'll find me.
And I think
it's so easy to find her.
Yeah,
like Sherry
it's everywhere.
Yeah, it's everywhere. Well, thank you once again, Sherry, for coming.
Thank you. Thank you guys so much.
All right, you want to do that thing?
Okay.
What thing?
The ending.
Our tradition.
Okay.
Ape ama suaigo menu. It's me, Concord.
And it's me, Tyler.
And it's me, Sherry.
And we are
Brosbond!